I would have never in the world called the police. Like how?
Check on toe. We don't get fire over here.
Alright.
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from hot steaming water.
Ever wonder what goes through a cop's mind before they pull the trigger? Buckle up, because Grayson's about to take us on a wild ride through his thoughts when he faced Sonya Massey. Was it fear or something darker? Let's dive into this mess and see what's really going on behind that badge. Meet Deputy Shay Grayson, the cop involved in Sonya Massey's tragic story. This case has it all: a 911 call, a black woman asking for help, and a cop with a past so shady it's like a celebrity's hidden DMs. But here's where it gets even crazier. Grayson claims he shot Sonya because of something she said. Yep, you heard that right. But there's more history to this, and trust me, it's messy. So let's rewind to that fateful night when Sonya Massey's world turned upside down. Picture this. It's just before 1:00 a.m. on July 6, 2024. Sonya is alone, scared, thinking there's a prowler lurking outside her home. She does what any of us would do. She calls 911 for help. Little did she know, the real danger was about to walk through her front door. Sonya is on the phone, confused and terrified, describing the mysterious prowler to the operator, hoping the cops will arrive and make her feel safe. But sometimes, the cure is worse than the disease, if you know what I'm saying.
Need help with?
Nothing. I just think I don't know what to do.
Do what?
Huh?
What do you need help with?
Nothing. I just want to see if I can help me.
What do you want help with?
Huh?
What do you want help with?
I heard somebody outside.
Yeah, we checked your house, we checked your backyard. I walked all the way through all these backyards. We checked your front yard. We didn't see nobody. So nobody's out here.
You didn't see anybody?
Nope.
Oh, no.
Checked the whole area. It took you so long to answer the door.
Oh, I was trying to put on some clothes, sir. I'm sorry. I was trying to get...
I got you. All right. Is there anything else we can do for you?
Huh?
Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. You doing all right mentally?
Yes.
Sure?
My medicine, sir.
All right. Okay. All right. That's not your black car, though. The SUV? Whose is it? You don't know? Someone just parked it in your driveway?
They brought it to my driveway.
You just left it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah.
Enter Deputy Sean Grayson, the man who's about to flip Sonya's world upside down. You'd think a trained cop showing up would mean things are about to get better, right? Wrong. This is where our story takes a sharp, unexpected turn that'll leave you with whiplash. Grayson rolls up to Sonya's place, and things go from 0 to 100 in seconds. It's like he walked in with his finger already on the trigger, just waiting for an excuse to pull it. But why? What made this cop so jumpy? That's where the story gets crazy, and trust me, the tea is about to spill. Now, picture this. Sonya, probably terrified out of her mind, sees this agitated cop in her home. She says something that Grayson claims sealed her fate. She looked him in the eye and said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." In what world is that a threat? But in Grayson's mind, those words might as well have been a loaded weapon. Grayson starts yelling at Sonya to drop a pot. A pot, y'all. He claims she was wielding some kind of deadly weapon. He's screaming, "You better not, or I swear to God I'll shoot you in the face." This man, who's supposed to protect and serve, is out here cursing and threatening like he's in some action movie. And Sonya, she's confused, she's scared, and this isn't the help she called for. She's ducking behind a counter, apologizing, saying, "I'm sorry." Can you even imagine? Apologizing to someone who's threatening to shoot you in your own home. But Grayson didn't stop there. He fired 3 shots. Boom, boom, boom. One of them hit Sonya in the head. And you know what this cop says after shooting her? Headshot. She's done. Like he's in some kind of video game, not talking about a real person he just shot. All this happened in just a few moments. 1 minute, Sonya's calling for help. The next, she's fighting for her life. And for what? Because she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." Grayson claims he thought that meant she was about to attack him. But let's be real, does that make any kind of sense? The whole mess was caught on body camera, showing just how fast things went south. But here's where it gets fishy. Why didn't Grayson turn on his body cam until after he shot Sonya? What was he trying to hide? There are a lot of questions that need answering. Now, let's try to get into Deputy Grayson's head for a minute. This man really said he was scared for his life because of some words. Not a gun, not a knife, not even a frying pan, just words. And not just any words, but I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Since when is that prayer scarier than a weapon? Grayson's trying to spin a story that Sonya's words made him fear for his life. But seriously, a trained cop with a gun getting shook by the name of Jesus? People are talking, and it's not in a good way. But hold on, because it gets even wilder. Grayson's report says, and I quote, as I approached the cabinet, Sonya stood up from a crouched position, grabbing the pot, raising it above her head, and throwing the boiling substance to me. Sounds pretty wild, right? Except, was there even a pot in sight? The streets are saying there wasn't. So what was Grayson really seeing? This whole boiling water excuse is shakier than week-old sushi. Grayson was yelling, I'm not taking hot effing boiling water to the effing face. But seriously, where's this mythical pot of boiling water coming from? It's like he's fighting imaginary enemies or something. And let's talk about what actually went down. The body cam footage, yeah, the one Grayson conveniently didn't turn on until after he fired, tells a different story. It shows Sonya apologizing and ducking for cover right before Grayson shot her. You heard that right. She was saying sorry and trying to hide, not throwing any boiling water. So we've got a cop claiming he was scared of some imaginary boiling water, while the footage shows a scared woman apologizing and ducking. Make it make sense, y'all. This whole mess has people asking real questions, like how does a trained cop get so terrified by a few words that he starts shooting? And why is he seeing pots of boiling water that don't exist? It's like he walked into that house already convinced Sonya was a threat, no matter what she did or said. And let's not forget, this all started because Sonya called for help. She thought there was a prowler outside, and instead, she got shot in her own home by the person who was supposed to protect her. It's enough to make you think twice before calling 911, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Now, some folks are saying this is bigger than just Grayson and Sonya. They're talking about how cops see black people, especially black women. When a cop hears some words and immediately thinks they're in danger, something's seriously wrong. It's like they're seeing threats that aren't there, and that's dangerous for everyone. This case is shining a light on some big issues too. How are cops being trained? Why are they so quick to see danger even when there isn't any? And how do we fix this so people can feel safe when they call 911 for help? And y'all, despite Grayson's wild excuse, that's just the tip of the iceberg. His past is even shadier. Get this, Grayson's been job hopping like it's going out of style. 6 different law enforcement agencies in just 4 years. That's more changes than a pop star's hair color. Something is definitely not right here. Grayson had a rough time holding down a job. Now you might think it's because he was ambitious, but that's not the case. This guy has not 1, but 2 DUIs on his record. Yes, you heard right, a cop with a drinking problem. And these weren't just minor slip-ups. The first DUI happened while he was in the Army. Imagine that, serving his country, and then getting behind the wheel after one too many. The military wasn't having it and kicked him out for serious misconduct. But it didn't end there. Grayson didn't stop at just 1 DUI. He got a second one in 2016. You'd think by then someone would have realized that maybe law enforcement wasn't the right fit for him. But no, he kept pushing forward. And here's where it gets wild. Grayson was upfront about his past. He disclosed everything on his application to the Auburn Police Department, and they still hired him. It's like handing the keys to the store to a kleptomaniac. But Grayson's career wasn't exactly smooth sailing. He got fired from one job for refusing to live in the required area. In another incident, he was reprimanded for ignoring orders during a high-speed chase, where he ended up hitting a deer like he was playing Grand Theft Auto in real life. So how did Grayson end up as a deputy in Sangamon County? Sheriff Jack Campbell thought, this is the guy we need, and hired him in May 2023. But here's the kicker. Grayson had only been on the job for 14 months when the incident with Sonya Massey happened. 14 months, that's barely enough time to find the coffee machine, let alone handle a crisis. Now, Sheriff Campbell is singing a different tune, saying Grayson had other options that night with Sonya. Yeah, no kidding, Sheriff. He claims this doesn't reflect their values. But if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Only this time, it's wearing a badge.
Nothing in Grayson's background that could have led us to believe that he would commit this violent act. and we handle thousands of calls every year without incident. We've had 3 officer-involved shootings in the last 24 years. And so my message is that we're still the same sheriff's office. The person that did this is in jail. He's going to face justice in the criminal justice system.
Sonya's family isn't buying the official story. They're demanding a full investigation into how Grayson was even hired in the first place. And honestly, who can blame them? How does a guy with 2 DUIs, a trail of job changes, and a misconduct discharge from the Army end up with a badge and a gun? It's like the police department played a game of eeny, meeny, miny, mo with their hiring process. You've got a drinking problem and can't hold down a job. Perfect, here's the power to make life or death decisions. We've been focused on Deputy Grayson and his wild excuses, but it's time to shift gears and talk about the real victim here, Sonya Massey. This isn't just another headline. Sonya was a real person with a real life, and it's time we got to know her. Who was Sonya Massey? She wasn't just some name in the news, she was a mother. And not just any mother, she was the kind who lived for her children. Sonya had 2 kids, Malachi, 17, and Jeanette, 15. These kids were her whole world. She wasn't perfect, who is, but she loved them fiercely. Sonya had her struggles, just like many of us. The word on the street is that she was dealing with some mental health issues, and that's nothing to be ashamed of, but it can make life incredibly difficult. Her family knew about it and was trying to help her. In fact, right before everything went down, they decided that the kids would stay with their dad for a bit while Sonya got the help she needed. But here's where it gets heady. Sonya's son, Malachi, was trying to get his mother into a mental health facility. Can you imagine being 17 and trying to do that for your mom? That's love. Earlier that day, there was an incident and Malachi spoke to a couple of officers. He believes one of them was the same officer who shot his mother. Malachi talked to his partner first. But don't get the wrong idea, Sonya wasn't some angry or scary person. Her uncle, who always kept it real, said she was a beautiful black queen. He said she was hardly ever angry, always full of love. That's the kind of person we're talking about here. Someone who, even while struggling, still spread love. And Sonya had faith. When everything went down with Deputy Grayson, she asked him to pass her a Bible. In her darkest moment, she was reaching out for something to give her strength. Remember those words that Grayson got so scared of? I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That wasn't a threat. It was Sonya's faith crying out. She was confused, scared, and trying to protect herself the only way she knew how, through her faith. Ben Crump, the attorney representing Sonya's family, said it best. Sonya's words reflected both her faith and her mental state at the time. But instead of seeing a frightened woman in need of help, Grayson saw a threat, and that's where everything went wrong. Sonya needed help that night. Someone to understand what she was going through and see her as a human being who was struggling. Instead, she was met with violence. She was shot in her own home by someone who was supposed to protect her. This isn't just about police violence, though that's a huge part of it. It's about how we treat people who are struggling with mental health issues. The streets erupted after what happened to Sonya Massey. As soon as word got out, people hit the streets in protest. We're talking marches that would make your head spin, people chanting Sonya's name, holding signs. It's like the whole country woke up and said, enough is enough.
It's amazing how the community can come together and really just take the collective grief that we're feeling and then do something with it. We've been able to defy expectations of what mourning looks like, of what grieving looks like, and the expectation that we would be violent in the face of violence. And I think it really does set a tone and an example for who we are and what we can be.
Alfred and Faith Perry, Alfred's cousin, says this peace march could be the beginning of big changes.
It gives me faith. It gives me hope that that there can be a change.
Yeah, it really can be. Like, if the change is small or big, either way, we just want to change. And like I got to say, justice for Sonya.
It's not just everyday folks getting involved. Big names are weighing in on this one. President Biden and Vice President Harris have both spoken out, calling for major changes in how our police operate. When the president and VP are involved, you know things are getting serious. But here's where it gets really interesting. All eyes are on Sheriff Jack Campbell. Let me tell you, he's feeling the heat. People are calling for his resignation, demanding accountability. But Campbell, he's holding on tight, refusing to budge. Now, you might be wondering why everyone is so mad at Sheriff Campbell. Well, it's because he's the one who hired Officer Grayson in the first place. Remember Grayson's messy past? Yeah, Campbell knew all about it but still decided to give him a badge and a gun. That's like handing matches to a pyromaniac and being surprised when something catches fire. Campbell's trying to save face, saying, "I'd offer up no excuses for what happened with Grayson." But actions speak louder than words, and so far, his actions are screaming, "I'm not going anywhere." The community isn't buying it, though. They're demanding transparency, accountability, and real change. They're honoring Sonya's memory and making it clear that this cannot happen again. People are even calling for a new law in Illinois named after her, one that ensures bad cops can't just switch districts and continue their harmful behavior. When people in our community get arrested, the first thing that happens is a background check. Well, we should have the right to check the records of the officers too. Some folks are saying Campbell is protecting Grayson. Why? That's the million-dollar question. Is it because admitting he made a mistake by hiring Grayson would make Campbell look bad? Or is there something deeper going on? The streets are talking, and the theories are enough to make your hair stand on end. Now, Grayson is facing charges of first-degree murder and official misconduct. That's some serious stuff. He's sitting in jail without bond, which means he can't just pay his way out. He's probably wondering how he went from being a cop to being behind bars. It's like something out of a TV drama, except it's all too real. And get this, Grayson is pleading not guilty. Yeah, you heard that right. After everything we know, after the body cam footage, after the pain Sonya's family is going through, he's still claiming he did nothing wrong. It's like he's living in a different reality. The case is headed for a legal battle that's going to get messy. You've got Grayson claiming innocence, the prosecutor calling him a murderer, and Sonya's family demanding justice. This is going to be a wild ride, and you can bet the whole country will be watching. But here's the thing that's on everyone's mind. Will justice really be served this time? We've seen cases like this before where cops walk free, even when it seems clear they did wrong. People are worried that Grayson might get off easy and that the system might protect one of its own. This case is highlighting some big issues in our justice system. How do we make sure cops are held accountable? How do we prevent this from happening again? These are the questions keeping people up at night, and the answers aren't easy. The streets are saying we need change, not just minor adjustments, but big, sweeping changes. We're talking about how cops are trained, how they handle mental health situations, and how they're held accountable when they mess up. Let's be real, it's not going to be fixed overnight. It's going to take a lot of us speaking up, demanding better, and not letting the story fade away like yesterday's news. So, what do you all think? Is this the wake-up call we need to finally fix our broken system? Or is it just going to be another headline that fades away? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your voice matters in this conversation. And listen up, this story is still unfolding. There's going to be more to discuss, more drama to unpack, and you know we'll be here to break it all down for you. So, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next in this wild ride.